Hello, welcome back to another little video on accordion repairing. So I've got a nice accordion on the bench today. It's one of my favourite brands actually, because I've done a few of these, and it's a Pigliocampo, which is an Italian brand. There we are, let's just bring that down a touch. So Italian one. I've done a few of these which have been 72 basses or 80, and this one's got 32. No it's not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, it's 48. But interestingly enough, it's got 12 buttons along here, and then 4 rows. So you get your bass, your counterbass, your major, and your minor. Now, this is quite nice. It's quite compact accordion, and what you've got, rather than your 48, which is 6 times 8, because you've got 4 times 12, you get more of the notes of your scale that you can, or more notes in the chromatic scale that you can play. In fact, with 12, I think you get all of them, which is much better in some ways than just having 8. But the downside is you haven't got a 7th. You also don't have a diminished, which is what you find on some accordions where you get a diminished row as well. But because you've only got the major and the minor, you haven't got the 7th, which is very useful. But you can actually make a 7th by playing a major and then adding another button. Actually, I'll show you. Let's see if I can show you how to make a 7th. Or kind of a 7th anyway. Near enough to make no difference, I guess, or near enough that nobody would really notice. Right, so let's bring that down again. Right, so if I just go for the C. So you've got the C, and then above it you've got the counterbass. Just kind of a third above. And then you've got the major and the minor. And to get the 7th, right, so with this accordion, it's sounding pretty nice, and the compression's good, and it's in good nick, but some of the notes aren't sounding quite so well. Now what we've got 2 middle reeds on one setting, and then we've got a low and 2 middle reeds on the other one. So I think what I'm going to do something a bit different today. I'm going to check the M and to the 2 M tuning reeds and the L reeds, and have a listen to them independently of each other, because at the moment I'm just getting MM or L and MM, and I can't really identify notes that causing issues, because you've got 2 notes playing or 3 notes playing together. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the accordion apart, and I'm going to separate off and isolate each of the reed banks and play them again and make some notes, so that I get a really good idea of which notes maybe need a bit of attention. So I'm going to take the accordion apart, and I'm going to use some electrical tape and tape off different reed sets, just so I can listen to the one I want to just check. So let's get it onto the table and take it. Okay, so I've just got the treble side off, and it does look fantastic. It looks immaculate inside. The kind of the cleanliness and the valves look nice. A few ones that are curled a little, but it does look in terrific condition, which is really encouraging. So the next thing, before I take the reed blocks out, I'm just going to lightly number them, just with a pencil that can come off if I need it to come off, so that when I come to put them back in, I just know straight away which goes which goes where. So let's get these reed blocks out and have a little look. So little screws just need to just loosen off these. Oopsie. Okay, so I'll just loosen off the little slidey clamps so they can pull back, and then just carefully just take these reed blocks out. Go. And then it's all looking lovely inside, really pristine, so that's a really good sign. So it's been well looked after, hasn't been left in the damp. It almost looks brand new inside, so that's great. So I'm going to put that carefully to one side. Right, so 3 sets of reed blocks. Now the next thing is to work out which is which. Alrighty. Right, so I can see the reed set with the lowest pitch reed, which is kind of these bits are kind of like solder or lead or something on the bottom end of the reeds at the bottom end. That's going to be in L. I can just mark that. I've got another one with those just there, and then I've got 2 middle sets of reeds which I need to work out which one is tuned to the pitch of the accordion and which is the tremolo side are tuned ones, which then when you play both together gives you the tremolo. So it's quite important to work out which is which. So to do that I need to actually do some playing of the notes and work out how they're tuned. So I'm going to just open up my little bellows here and I'll show you how I'm going to work out which reed block is which. So which one's tuned M and which one's tuned the tremolo M, if that makes any sense. I hope it does. Right, so I'm just going to clear a bit of space and show you how I'm going to do that. Right, so what I've got here is a little hole in my bench, but underneath here I've got some bellows attached which I can work with my knee. And so what I can do, I can blow air through that little hole with my bellows, which are controlled by knee. And I've got my tuner on my phone and I've set it to A440. And so what I need to work out is which side of this reed block is playing the reeds that are tuned to pitch of the accordion and which ones are the tremolo ones, which will give you that tremolo sound. So if I just play one, that's fine. There we go, so play that one. And that's pretty much bang on F sharp at A440. So I'll do another one. So what these ones are doing is they're playing at A440. So I'm just going to put a little mark on this side, and then what I should find, so these side I've been testing here are ones that are playing to the pitch of the accordion. Now if I turn it round and play the ones on the other side of the reed block, what I'm hoping to find is that these will be tuned a little bit higher to give you that tremolo. So let's have a look. And indeed they are. I can see they're there. Yeah, they're significantly higher than that A440. So I'm pretty happy now that I've got my standard tuned reeds and then my tremolo sound. So I'm just going to mark on my reed block tremolo on that side. So now I know which is which and how, because that's really important when it comes to tuning it, because these ones, the A440 ones, they'll be tuned exactly to pitch, but the tremolo set of reeds will be tuned as in relation to my tuning pattern that I want to have for these reeds. So that's that reed block. Now one of the reed blocks has got, this one here has got the low reeds on one side and then an M set on the other side, but I don't know whether this M set is the M set tuned to the pitch or the tremolo. So let's have to quickly put it on. And that's tuned bang on to the A440 pitch, so I know that's those ones, so that's fine. So I should now, if I've done everything correctly, go to the final set of M reeds, and these should be tremolo ones. So let's have a look. I hope so, otherwise I'm stuffed. And indeed they are. They're tuned higher than A440. So I now know that these are tremolo reeds. I'll just make a little note on the top of the paper in pencil. So now I know what's going on. What I can do now, I could isolate each set of reeds so that I can then check the tuning of each set of reeds without the accordion playing two reeds at the same time, which makes it impossible to do much with at this step. So next thing, I'm going to get some electrical tape and I'm going to tape off some of the reed blocks. So the first thing I'm going to check is the M middle set of reeds, which are tuned to A440, the ones that are tuned to pitch. So by taping off everything else, just having those, when I play the accordion I should just hear a single set of M reeds. It should just be all like a single note without any tremolo. So let me get my electrical tape and I'll show you how I'm going to just get this all set up. Okay, so what I want to do now is isolate the reeds that I don't want to play so that I can just listen to the ones that I do. So I know that that's a tremolo set there, so the other side is just a low set of reeds. So I'm just going to get my electrical tape and I'm going to carefully cover up the holes. Now the beauty of electrical tape is it's sticky, but it doesn't kind of leave a mess. It comes off easily as well, and so it's just perfect really for this kind of job. So just want to make sure I can cut it to the right length, and it also just happens to be just about the right width. Okay, so that's one of the low reeds. There's a bit more of that there as well. So I'm going to tape off this one. Although I was thinking about it, I didn't need to do that. Aha! Because I can just take off the low reed on the switch, but I didn't know. It didn't make a difference. Right, now I've got the A440 that one. That's a low one. So I need to, that one says tremolo. So I'm going to tape off that one. that's that one done. That's really 440. I've got a tremolo set here, so I need to take those off as well. Go. There. Right, hopefully, if I got it right, we have got just the single M reeds now open. So that's that one. And that one. So if I put these back into the treble side, should now be able to just play the treble side notes and just pick up the single M reeds, which I can then have a good listen to. Right, so let's get these in order. And number 3. Okay, so I'm just going to tighten down the little screws. There we go. So they're now tightened down, and so now I can put the accordion back together. So just get the bass side up. Come here. There we go. Pop the treble side back on. Like so. And then I can put the pins back in, so let's get those in. Get my special pin pliers here, get those in nicely. So this technique is needed because on this accordion I can't play an M reed, single M reed on its own. I just get 2 that play together, or I get 2 with an L reed together. So I haven't got the option of just playing one single M reed. So if I had that option, it would be much more straightforward, because I could just play that one, listen to that set of reeds and tune them and check them. But because I can't do that on this accordion, it doesn't give me that option. I have to do the first step of masking off the other reeds. So it just takes a little bit longer. It's not a problem, as long as you've got the time. Which is kind of one of the reasons why it takes a long time to fix some accordions, and why sometimes you might think, oh gosh, it costs a lot of money to do a service on an accordion, because it takes a long time. There we go, so that's in. Just put my little block away. So next thing, if I just turn this round, there we are. If I get the accordion now, we should find that when I play, I should just have one set of notes playing have a look. Lovely. So that's just my single M tuned to the pitch, and so the next step, I'm going to get my notebook. I'm going to make some notes on notes which sound a bit rough or a bit raspy, or maybe okay, so here we should have all the single notes now. So the next step is to get my notebook, and I'm going to make some notes on how the single M reed notes are playing. So if anything a bit raspy or they sound a bit out of tune, I'll make some notes and see if I can rectify those problems. And then I'll move on to listening to the second set of M reeds and seeing what they sound like, and then we can really gradually get to the point of it all sounding really, really lovely. Okay, let me just get myself my notebook ready and everything else. Okay, so I've checked through these low reeds and they're all sounding pretty nice, apart from a couple to show you that are not sounding quite so good. So if I just go from the beginning. So that A1 on the push, there's a raspiness to that one. And then the B1 on the push, there's a raspiness to that one. But apart from that, everything else has sounded really, really nice. So I think there's quite a nice couple of little things to tackle on that middle reed. That's the A440 one really. So I'll get that one out and I'll show you how I'm going to tackle those two little bits and bobs. Give me a second, I'll get that reed block out. Okay, so this is the reed block with the two notes I'm looking to improve. It was an A1 and a B1, so it's actually that one and that one. They were both a bit raspy on the push. So the push is the outside reed, as I'm looking at it there, and that raspiness is to do with the valves of those reeds. So I need to get check the valves of those two reeds, but obviously they're on the inside. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to carefully cut with a scalpel down here. I'm actually going to take the first three reeds out because it just makes a neater job, and I'm going to take all those three reeds out, and I'm going to check all the valves, and while I'm doing it I'll just replace all 6 valves anyway, because there's a little bit of curling up on those two anyway. So I'm going to take all those out, and I'm then going to revalve them all, clean them all, revalve them, and wax them all back in. So let me show you how I do that. Let's see. Right. Here we go. So I'm going to get my sharp scalpel and just cut. I'm going to cut a line along. Here and here, and then I'm going to get my trusty Swiss Army knife. I'm going to, and then just carefully lift up without causing any damage those 3 leads. There we are. 1, 2, 3. And so what next step is I'm going to clean off these reeds, but I'm also going to clean the reed block of all the wax because I'm going to re-wax these in a second, but I'm going to start with the reeds themselves. And just so I don't make any mistakes, I'm just going to put a little diagonal on the corner of each reed with my scratcher so that I know which way up they came out, just in case I can't tell, but I can normally tell anyway. Right, so here we go. So there should be these two on the underside, should be some kind of valve issue. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take off all of the valves. And then I'm going to just put new valves on, and I'm going to clean up these 3 reeds. So first of all, I'm going to take off the excess wax, which is just quite a nice easy job with a sharp blade. And carefully get rid of any glue, which is also quite a nice easy little job. Like that. So this wax just go flying everywhere. And then once I've got them cleaned up, I'm going to put them in the ultrasonic for about 15 minutes with some warm water and some detergent, and then give them a thorough dry off with a hair dryer. Make sure they're really, really dry. Give them a final kind of polish up, and then I'll revolve them. But whilst they're cleaning in the ultrasonic, I'll start cleaning up the reed block as well, so that that's ready. There we go. So next thing, we get the ultrasonic out. Just going to put some fresh, clean, warm water in here, and then I'll get ready. I'll come back in a second. Going to put some detergent in here, just a little bit. Running out. It's running out. Turn that on. Give it a little stir, and then let these cook for about 15 minutes. And then I'm going to, whilst they're doing their job, I'm just going to cover up that little hole there, because that's my bellows. Just take that up for a sec. And the next thing is to get the excess wax off this reed block. So very carefully, so not to disturb the wax on the neighbouring. You want a nice straight line. Without disturbing anything else. a little bit of sandpaper. Finish off that little job. Just got a little brush. Just a brush out. There we go. So now I'm going to leave that for a second, do a bit of tidy up and leave that for 15 minutes, and then I'm also going to get the wax heating up. So I'll come back when I've got that cleaned, those cleaned and the wax heated up. Okay, so state of play. I've cleaned up the reeds and just here. I've given them a thorough dry off and a polish up, and now I've just chosen some valves which I think will be a good fit. So these are 3-layer synthetic valves because I like these valves. They're very reliable, and they last quite a long time and they perform really well. So I need to have 6 of these valves. I've got my glue, which is Botterm, B-O-T-E-R-M, I believe. GTA, which is a shoe glue, but it works really well. Just need a bit of this. Don't need too much. I'll just put a little glob there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little square of glue on the tip of the, maybe just a bit of maybe a long square, maybe a slight rectangle. There we go. And then I can put that. So we had a phone call there. I'll have to start in a minute. Put that up. There we go. Let's do the same for the other ones. So I'll do one side first, let those dry, and then do the other side, and then once I've got them all nice and dry, it takes a few minutes, I will then trim them off. So let me just wait till they're all on and I'll show you how I trim them up. Okay, so all the valves are nicely on. I'm just going to have a look at if I can do any trimming to see how much further. But these ones look, actually those ones are about the correct length. That one looks to be the correct length. I just happen to be quite lucky with that valve size. Yeah, so in fact that valve size was just spot on, so there's no trimming needed. That's great. So now I'm just going to get prepared for the waxing in. So that's the 3 reed chambers ready. So the next thing is to get my nice, got the wax heated up, that's fine. Get a nice little brush that will do the job nicely. Let's go to my brush department. Do 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 do. I think this one will do it. There you go, that one in. So I'm going to get that just warmed up. I'm going to get myself an old t-shirt or something that I can use as a just to wipe off any excess. And let's see if I can just get these in the right order as well, because that would be a disaster if they were in the wrong order. There we go. Make sure I've got the little hatched across line on the top. There we go. So there, hooray, just mounted it up. Don't be silly, Rich. There we are. Now, because I'm going to put some wax on here, I'm going to get some tape and just tape off the edge, just so that if I get any drippages, it doesn't go onto the reed block itself, and then that just gives you a nice tidy finish. Right, I think I'm ready. So here we go. I hope you can see what I'm doing here. So let's start with the highest one. So I'm just going to get that nicely. That brush this will make it a bit more. Just a little coating of wax. And that edge. That'll be a nice little bed for the first reed to go onto. Go around all edges. Reach the right way up. Pop it in. Put it nice and central. Firmly push down, and then I'm going to go around. Just go around that reed. Okay, so that one's now all sealed in. We can do the next one. Again, go around the houses, all around the angles. Make sure you get them in the right order. Then, nicely in the middle, firmly press it down. Like so. Finish off going around that one. Try to keep this as neat as I can. Outside. Then ready for the last one. Again, push that one in. Nicely into the middle. More tricky, that one. Okay, so I've got those three waxed in. I can take off this tape, which makes it all nice and tidy. There we go. And there we have it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave that to cool before I put that back into the accordion, where I can then test to make sure that the notes that I've recognised as being a bit raspy are now not raspy. So I'm going to leave that for a good hour or so, just for that wax to nicely cool and harden before I do any testing. So the next thing, I'll come back and I'll test out those notes that I've just been working on. So see you. Right, so I've put the reed block back in, and it was the A and B on the push which were causing the raspiness. So this is the A on the that sounds good, and then the B. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So this should all be sounding quite nice now. See that? Got a sticking key. Don't have to investigate that as well. I'll have a look at that in a minute. But the actual notes that I was checking, I'm happy with. Okay, so the next step is actually I'm going to have a look at that sticky note, and then kind of take the tape off the M reeds for the A440, which is ones I've just checked, and I'm going to what I'm going to do, I'm going to tape off the A440 reeds and have a listen to the tremolo reeds and see what they're sounding like, and then I can play them both together. But the first thing before that is have a look at that sticky key and just make sure that's not going to be sticky, and I'll see if I can unstick it. So I'm just going to put it back onto the desk. Right, so on that sticky key, if I can show you what it was, that one, what I can see, oh hang on, hang on a minute, this one, it's actually quite, I can see the key is actually quite close to the next key, so it actually needs to be, it's kind of just moved across slightly to one side and it's touching that one. So I'm just going to start off by getting a little screwdriver, and I'm just going to see if I can carefully make a little gap between those two keys, just by doing a bit of quick. There we go. Yeah. So it's just it just needed moving over slightly. It was just touching the key next to it. Just making a little gap between the keys. That sorted that out. Right, okay, that's good. Okay, so I'm going to take out the reed blocks and tape up the A440 reeds and just have the tremolo reeds playing and have a listen to how they sound. So I'll get that sorted. I'll put the reed blocks back in the accordion and I'll show you what it sounds like when I've got just the tremolo reeds playing. Right, so this is the tremolo set of reeds now. Actually, they sound alright. I'm going to leave those where they are. Now, they might not sound quite exactly in tune, because they won't be, because they're going to be slightly off tune, but also the lower ones will be more off tune than the higher ones. That's just how the tremolo tuning works. But there's nothing untoward going on, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take off all the tape and now play the two M reeds together and see what they sound like. Okay, give me a tick. Right, okay, so now I've taken off all the tape, so I've got all of the reeds open, so I should be able to now hear the MM tuning, and I'm hoping it sounds alright, so let's have a little listen. And the A and the B. So nice. Now I'm going to bring in the low reed. I haven't checked that yet, but just see what it sounds like. And actually, I can hear straight away there's a real growl on that D, so I know that the low reed, that D will need a bit of work. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tape off both of the M reeds, so I can just listen to the low reeds, the L reeds, all on their own. So I'm going to take the reed blocks out again, tape off both of the M reeds, and then I can listen to the L reeds in isolation. So I'll come back when I've done all that and I've got it all back in the accordion. I'll just play the L reeds in isolation. Whew, this is quite a fiddly process, but I think it's the only way I can do it. Okay. Right, so now I've isolated all of the low reeds, and there's a few more here that need a little bit of work. So if I show you, if I go right from the bottom. Oh, hello. Right, that's a G sharp on the pull. Is weird and distorted. The B flat is distorted on the pull. The C, oh gosh. C sharp 1 on the pull is distorted. D is bad. E flat. So all the way up to E flat 1, all of these are just sounding rough, and so I think I might just target the lower end of the low reeds. And there's one more that sounds rough, and it's a B flat here. But everything else is sounding okay. Sounds perfect. So I'm going to concentrate on the lower end of these low ones. I'm going to take those reeds out, clean them, valve them, wax them back in again, and see what they sound like. Right, I'll show you when I've got those reeds out. Right, so I've made my notes on the low reed. So I'm going to go all the way from G sharp 1 up to E flat 1 on the keyboard on the low notes, which are not sounding brilliant, some of them, so I'm just going to do a little block of those ones. Of these ones. And also the B flat 2, B flat 2 is also one I'm going to look at as well. So, oh, here comes Bilbo. Come on, Bilbs. Hello, oi, come on, Bilbs. So that's a cat just coming in. So yeah, I'm going to take the low reeds out, and I'll show you how I'm going to tackle those particular problems as well. So let me just get the reed blocks out. So Bilbo's just come to help me take apart the accordion to get the low reeds out. He's a specialist on the low reeds of accordion, so he's going to give me a little bit of a help. Just to make sure, is that right? Make sure I get it right. Make sure I get it right. Thanks, Bilbs. Right, okay, let me get those low reeds out, and Bilbo's going to... Okay, so I've worked out which of the reeds I want to be improving. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a little partial redoing of the lower bass reeds here. So this is going from G sharp all the way up to E flat. So I'm going to do this little section here. So I'll get the reeds out. I'm going to clean them, then revolve them and re-wax them. I've got a little note, one note there that I'm going to take off, and another one just here. So I'm just going to pinpoint the ones that aren't sounding properly and get those sorted. So I'm going to start off with this little group from here to here. So first of all, I'm just going to make sure I know which way round they go. So just a little diagonal scratch. There we go. And then I'm going to get a little blade, and I'm just going to run this blade and down the middle, just here, just trying to get a nice straight cut down there, and then just get my trusty penknife. We'll get these out. There we are. So I'll deal with the reed block in just a minute. So let's get these reeds ready for cleaning. Okay, so I'm now going to put these reeds in for 15-minute clean. So let's just do that. Pop them in. And whilst I'm doing that, I'm going to just tidy up the wax that's remaining on the reed chambers here and just make sure it's nice and clean, ready for re-waxing those reeds in. So I'm going to do that while that's just cooking. Right, so I've cleaned up the reeds and there they are, and all I'm going to do now is put some new valves on. I found some really nice triple layer leather valves actually, with a kind of triple or double layer of synthetic and a single layer of leather, and these are just going to be just right. So I get some glue out. I'm going to just attach the valves and wax them in, and yeah, as usual kind of practice for these base reed, not base reeds but the low reed, sorry, I'm just going to put a little, rather than doing a square of glue, I'm going to just elongate it a little bit, just a little bit longer, just because, just to get a bit more purchase on that valve, and just to get a bit more kind of stability for these lower reeds. Okay, so I'm just going to go and glue this on and then I'll trim them up. I'll show you in a sec. Okay, so I've got these nicely valved up. I'm just going to let them dry for 10 minutes or so, and I'm going to trim them back so that they're just about flush with the end of the slot. And I've got my wax heating up in here, and then as soon as that's all finished, I'll start waxing those reeds in. Now while I'm waiting, I'll just show you the rest of the reed block. You know, the valves are looking really nice on that side. Again, they're looking fine, so I'm quite happy just to do these little running repairs, if you like, because the rest of the valves are looking nice. So yeah, so I think it will be fine, and I think it will play nice. So you're looking forward to hearing it. So yeah, I'll come back when I've finished trimming these, and I'll just show a bit of waxing in, and then we can put the reeds back into the accordion. Okay, so back in a sec. Okay, I'm going to start waxing these reeds in now. Just got a little bit of a jumper just to mop up any mess. I've got all the reeds aligned as they should be, in the right order. So just it's a question of doing some waxing now. Wax is nice and hot. Okay, I won't film it all, but that's the first one in, but I'll show you when I've got. Right, so all back together again, so let's have a listen. So first of all, just the MM. So, sounds nice. So I think the notes that I would, all the notes sounding nicely. I think the A1 on the push. And a B1. Sounds good. Right, now to put the low in. So this bottom one's which is sounding raspy. Sounds alright. Touch that. There we are. So let's do a little tune. Now the bass side, I'm going to have to do a bit of work on the bass side. I can hear a few raspy ones on that side, but this is just showing what I can do on the treble side. Let's do this one. Excuse my playing. Sounds nice. So thanks for watching. I've just had to do a few little spot repairs on some of the reeds on the treble side. Hope you found that useful. Hope you can see my face as well. Okay, many thanks for watching.